Welcome back, guys, and today we are looking at the Pizza Club, Leonardo. And today we are going to be going over all standard releases of Leonardo. We have the 2-pack version, the original, the Turtles in Disguise version, and finally we have the Pizza Club Leonardo. So let's check these out. And as mentioned in the last episode, I am definitely going to find a place for these VHS boxes to at least display. So maybe hang them on the wall near where I keep all my 2 NECA turtles. But these boxes are just too good to put away in the closet or throw away. So we get this fantastic illustration of the iconic opening sequence of Leonardo. So really awesome there. Loving the front, and of course love the Pizza Club logo like the Burger King Kids Club. Leonardo leads, so we got their titles on there, and then NECA design in the old VHS style. And again, loving that we actually get the separate bios, great product shots on the back, and everyone involved, and the list of accessories. So love the photograph inside the slipcover, and we can see all the accessories. So let's crack this open and see what's inside. Looking at Leonardo straight out of the box, he's looking great with some of these new colors, the matte finish, and we'll discuss that in a little bit. But as always with NECA figures, make sure you give this some heat either with hot water or a hairdryer. And I did have some really tight joints on Leonardo, so I had to make sure I was extra careful bending the elbows, bending the knees, but overall I was able to kind of bend everything without breaking anything. So just always kind of a word of caution when working with these figures. But we're going to take a closer look, and kind of as mentioned before in my previous episode, I do love the new colors. I do wish that if we do get more variations of the turtles, they try to keep it consistent, but this one's looking pretty great. So here are my Leonardos lined up, and I have the one on the left that was my very first one. On the right was the Turtles in Disguise, and in the middle is the Pizza Club version. So looking at the original one, definitely had some limitations. You didn't get any expressions with the older turtles. They were pretty much just always in that angry or fight mode kind of face, but they did have some limitations in posing. I have to keep this one kind of bent over, but at least you do get different variations from turtle to turtle, so they did have slight differences amongst the 4. And these are great, but I don't think they hold up anything to the Turtles in Disguise or the new Pizza Club ones. You can see some slight differences in the sculpt of the face, but other than that, the body has stayed the same. But I think the choices that they've been making with colors and also with the facial expressions, I think the newer ones have definitely gotten a lot better. I'm going to sound like a broken record when I'm going over each of these turtles, but really the biggest difference is the matte finish versus the gloss. And you really wouldn't notice if you have them separate in your display, maybe in different scenes, but having them right next to each other, it's pretty apparent. But you're probably not going to have 2 Leonardos on the same shelf, so I don't think it's that big a deal. It's just preference. I think I prefer the matte finish way better, but the Turtles in Disguise definitely have some more expressions that makes them take the cake a little bit. But looking at most of the details, everything pretty much stayed the same with some slight color differences, and the articulation and the bodies are pretty identical, so not much change there. So we're going to take a look at some of the accessories that came with Leonardo, and there's a lot, and I think that's what kind of makes this figure stand out way more than the others. So let's check those out. First up, we're going to take a look at these binoculars, and I'm not exactly sure what episode these are from, or if they belong to Leonardo in particular, but they look pretty nice. The paintwork's great, there's some great line work on it, and it's a nice sculpt. My only issue is I'm not really sure how the character's supposed to hold it, so I just kind of put it in a way that made the most sense to me, but it doesn't seem to be the most intuitive as far as how to attach it to Leonardo. So I'll try to look at other reviews and see if there's a better way to attach these, but for now, you can probably add this as just another piece of tech for Donatello's lab. So you can just throw this in with some of the other pieces you have, and I think it would fit in great to that display. Next, we're going to look at this warrior statue, and I'm not exactly sure what this is supposed to be. I have some ideas, but it's a pretty nice piece. So tiny you can barely make out the details, but it's pretty bendy, so I wouldn't worry too much about breaking it. But this can go on your shelf in a lair, Donnie's lab, you can put it with some books, but it seems to be pretty bendable where I'm not worried about breaking it. But I think this is supposed to be, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, if this is supposed to be like a miniature stone version of Nagahachi, so I'm really not sure, but it seems like that would make sense. But if you know what episode that's from, let me know. Next we have Zip, and I do love the incorporation of these smaller characters in because it's very reminiscent of the old Playmates little buddies that they put in. And these are figures that are probably never going to get their own release, so throw them in as accessories. I love that NECA's doing that. No articulation except for the head. There's a ball joint on the neck. So great detail on this guy, again, for characters that we would never see actually just get their own release. This is a great way to include them. Maybe if there's too many of these characters that we won't see in their own line, then they could just make like a 4 or 5 pack of these, maybe at a cheaper cost, and I definitely buy some of those. But he comes with this flimsy flight stand, and you got to stick it all the way between his legs to get him to stand up. So you can just have him floating around there in your display or in your lair. And this might sound weird, but we finally get a pizza with the toppings that make sense: marshmallow and pepperoni. Why? Pepperoni gives you heartburn, marshmallow root actually prevents heartburn. So I don't know, maybe this is some kind of counteractive ingredients so that for those of us pushing 40 or a few years away, we don't have to worry about that heartburn. But pretty great detail on it. I love that the marshmallows actually have some kind of toasted look on them, so they've been painted to look like they've actually been through the oven. So I think that's pretty cool. So we're going to put this in our stash of the millions of pizzas that we probably have already. I'm pretty sure all of these Pizza Club versions of the Turtles come with a new style pizza, so pretty cool. Then Leonardo does come with his signature weapons, his 2 katana swords, and I didn't realize, but when I did my Punk in Disguise review, that those turtles didn't come with any weapons at all, so that's pretty interesting. But we do get a lot of these weapons over and over again whenever there's a new release, and I don't think there's any major changes to these swords, so they're pretty much still the same. What I would have liked to see is maybe some sword effects, like if he was swiping it, maybe you get a little swoosh effect that you can put at the end of the blade, but no effects for Leonardo. The only thing I would hope in the future, if we get another version, is that the swords fit better into his belt, which they still don't. I do love the incorporation of each turtle getting their own videotape, and that the sticker on the videotape does match each of the turtles. So I think that's a nice little touch for all these, and it's really cool for the display with the accessory set, so you can always kind of put them in the VCR or around the TV in your sewer lair. We do get this book, which I am assuming is specific to Leonardo, based on the front cover. We'll get a closer look. It does have a sticker of 2 swords, which I'm assuming this is a book about sword fighting. Leonardo is always training, trying to be better, so maybe he's going to take a break and read that in bed. Nice little book accessory. I know we've gotten many, but at least this one's specific to Leonardo. And we do get an alternate head, which is the evil Leonardo, and this was a little scary because I'm definitely sure I almost broke the ball joint off the head, but luckily I got him on no problem. And he does also come with a set of hands, pointed fingers. So now with Mikey, we got thumbs up. Leonardo, we got the pointed fingers. So we're starting to kind of build up our collection of hands. Sizing up these figures one last time, looking at the first Leonardo, again, served his purpose. I still keep him in a specific part of my display, but he really didn't come with much. That's why his pile in front is empty. And just looking at the box, he came with a small communicator. And I thought it was really interesting seeing the size of the team that worked on these. Really small, and now it's grown. So the line's growing, the team that works on these is growing. I think it's pretty awesome. And our Turtles in Disguise turtles are still pretty good. I mean, they come with all the different costumes, the mask, the trench coat, the fedora, but I think the interchangeability of all the facial expressions really makes those figures. So hopefully in the future we get those with the updated colors. I think that would be pretty awesome, and hopefully that's just a standard. So with Pizza Club Mikey getting the chef's outfit, with Leonardo getting the evil head sculpt, and the addition of these characters, I think the Pizza Club versions are worth it on their own, especially with the new paint color scheme and the matte finish and all the accessories, these stand alone from the other versions of the turtles. Do you need them if you already have the other versions? Definitely not, but you probably want some of these extra accessories. So those are my thoughts on the Pizza Club Leonardo. If you are new to collecting, are you definitely going to grab these? If you have been in the line for a while, are you going to grab them anyway, or are you going to pass on these? But I picked these up because I have a problem. What can I say? If you like this episode, please feel free to hit like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. And until the next one, folks, we'll catch you next time.